Hello guys, welcome back. My name is Chris and we're going to be going through the American Kenpo technique backbreaker at the end of the green belt curriculum in the 24 system. I wanted to break it down because there's very few videos of it on YouTube, number one. And number two, I see some issues in the method and in the descriptions, the concepts and the principles being used in the backbreaker. Now, in postmodern Kenpo and in Christian Kenpo, we talk about attacks as either being now or when then. Now attacks are punches, kicks, knives, clubs, and guns. When thens are hugs, holds, locks, holds, and chokes. This is going to be a now attack. It's a step through right punch. Now, as far as where on the clock, using clock principle this is, we further subdivide the clock principle into three areas: green, yellow, and red. From noon to just before 2:30 and 10 o'clock on the clock is our green zone. This is including our peripheral vision. From 3 and 10 to 4:30 and 7:30 behind me is yellow. It's a little bit more dangerous, using a lot more of our peripheral vision and or our other senses to pick up our opponents. And the area between 4:30 and 7:30 behind me is the red zone. In this particular technique, backbreaker is using a yellow attack from my right side at approximately 3 o'clock. I'm going to borrow Jarek here, and we're going to walk through the technique using method, lower half motions, and describing how they work and why they work. So as I'm standing naturally, now in doing this we have something called pre-position. I can either pre-position with my feet together, standing naturally, pre-position with my right foot forward, which is pre-position 1, or pre-position 2 with my left foot forward. In this particular case, I know the name of the technique, I know the attack. I want my right foot forward a little bit as Jarek prepares his punch. He's standing naturally. We could be at a restaurant, we could be at a social gathering once COVID-19 goes away. And Jarek is going to punch out of nowhere. I'm going to step to 2 o'clock to slip the punch with a double factor motion. Notice there, back up. Jarek wasn't holding back. If I don't move, my head gets punched in. Right? Yep. Right. So as Jarek comes in, double factor motion. Notice here I've stepped to 2 o'clock, but I'm in a perspective rear bow. What we call in Christian Kenpo funky stance is a bow to 2 o'clock. Once again, I'm going to use method stance change, which is going to be shifting weight to my right foot, flexion, the tightening of my knee and thigh to prepare me for my motion. It's going to be hip rotation and foot pivot at the same time to put me on a direction of path of travel towards 4:30. As I have this positional rolling check here, I'm going to step towards my previous 3 o'clock. I'm going to do an in-place stance change. As I do so, grabbing Jarek by the shoulders and anchoring my elbows. As I am in this position in which I am doing the in-place stance change, it allows me the opportunity to show Jarek a bit of grace. This is one of those mercy points, as we talk about in Christian Kenpo. This is where, hey dude, do you really want to continue this? No. No, you don't. I get an opportunity to dialogue with my opponent. If he wants to struggle, if he wants to turn either way, I knee and step back. And I continue the technique. Now, what's most important is reducing the friction on the bottom of our feet using method to allow me to do this dance around my opponent in the backbreaker. Once again, without Jarek for a moment, I'm going to do the foot maneuver transitions, and then we will walk through the rest of the technique. So, attack is coming from my 3 o'clock. Step to 2, double factor parry. I'm going to use my method foot stance change maneuver. Rotate towards 430, step to my 6. As I do so, I have this pressing check and a rolling check on Jarek's shoulders. I do an in-place stance change as I anchor my elbows and make sure Jarek isn't going anywhere. Have our nice little mercy point discussion and then step back. This introduces a bracing angle. I can hold Jarek's weight on the front of my leg indefinitely. This bracing angle is also what brings up thrusting palms or thrusting prongs in the American Kenpo system, allows us of holding our opponent's weight. We have that discussion, chop to the nose, snap the neck. Now, the most important thing here is getting out of the way of our opponent. I know that I'm going to be striking him down as he goes down to the ground. I don't want my leg, either my left leg or my right leg, in the way. So I'm going to use, once again, a break stance method stance change formula to get out of the way. My heel is going to come up. I'm going to push off of my front foot as I strike down, step through reverse, and as I do, strike down. Now I go into a high close kneel. Pinch and exit. From a different angle. Step to 2, double factor parry. Break stance method with the rolling pressing check. In place stance change, anchor the elbows. Step back and place. Chop, break stance method, reverse motion, strike down, high close kneel. I'll have Jarek come up and we'll do it once in each direction, slowly. And go. 1, 2. Notice my distance here. I'm not going beyond my own shoulder. I'm not a million miles away. I need to maintain proper body mechanics at this point. Also, I'm making sure that that pressing pinning check prevents him from his intended intent, not the catalyst. In place stance change, anchor the elbows, bring him back. Chop, rip. Notice I keep the pressure on the face. As I push off that front foot and let him fall, I get out of the way. Boink, boink, and out. Once again, thank you for being a part of this series. Hopefully this explains the method. It shows the catalyst and intent, the break stance method, as well as some of the concepts and principles within backbreaker.